Maybe he's having internet issues too.
Yeah, I know.
Check your phone, make sure he's not texting you.
Yeah, let me grab my phone real quick. Make sure. What did you do today?
A little bit of everything, mostly with just mentoring and coaching people all day.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm tired.
I'm in where am where am I at? I'm in Detroit, Michigan tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so been come to the mortgage company called UWM and doing some talking at a for some of the group there. So been pretty fun and but they sent us out to this place called the Hub, and the Hub is like a restaurant thing that has like axe throwing and throwing footballs at bowling pins and darts and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, can you just take me home? Take me back to the hotel. I got something to do. So they finally did that. So that worked out. Well, I'm going
Hmm.
to not do a long show, but I'm going to do a show. Maybe we get to just talk to you today because I don't see him. He didn't text me. So maybe he'll pop on here in a second. Add one more thing here. Right. New window. What? One more minute. Okay. All right. Well, what I think I'm going to do here. Let me add my intro. We're just gonna go for it. Oh, I guess I already hit live, so I guess we are live already. Didn't even know it. I didn't know I
Already.
hit the live button until right now, until I'm editing it. So that's funny. Oh, that is hilarious. Maybe it just automatically went in here on me. So that's all right. So for those of you who are let me add this one more that didn't hit it, that are on watching. If anybody's watching on Facebook, my guest did not show up today, and so what do you do when your guest doesn't show up? Well, you talk about something else, I guess. The show has to go on, which I think is hilarious, but it's going to be fun. But what's kind of cool, and I'm not expecting him to absolutely just take over because we already talked to Mr. Yu another time on the Fireside Chat, but he is here. And so I don't want to not have the opportunity to have him be part of it or talk about it or anything like that. So I think that's kind of cool that you and I get to have another conversation. Well, as long as you want. So at any time you got to go because you wasn't planning on being here, I will let you go. And I'm going to switch some of this out where we got the wrong background and everything, but I'm going to put the right background because I thought it was going to go through. So here's what I'm going to do. There's my fireside background. Let's see. There we go. And then I'm actually going to play our normal intro. So for you guys, I just want you to see the intro because the guy who put it together did such a good job. And so we're going to watch that, and then we are going to be on. Oh, my gosh. All right. Yay, excited about being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to this video in the chat, I guess. And if anybody wants to come on and participate, I'll let you guys go ahead and do that. But this is the Fireside Chats, and we don't know. Now, Mr. You used to play football at some point, right?
Yeah, on the
Yeah, just a little bit, right? And you can remember, when you come up to the line and the defense doesn't look this if you're an offensive, especially if you're a quarterback, right? And you look at the defense and you go, wait a minute, the play that we just called is not going to work because let's say it's A gap, B gap, or C gap. So the A gap is the one between the center and the guard. And so let's say you have a play that you have a running back that's going to run through the A gap. But then you come up to the line and you look across and there's like this 350-pound man sitting right in the A gap. And you're going, wait a minute. And you have this little bitty guard and you're not going to be able to move him. So then you have to make a change. You got to go, wait a minute. We're going to go on the other side of the field and you're going to do what we call an audible. So you have some signals. You'll say some stuff. You guys probably remember like Peyton Manning would always say Omaha, Omaha, and then he would talk about the sky being blue or the ocean being red or something like that, which lets everybody know we're not running the play that I just called in the huddle. We're running a different offense. And then the ball hike and whatever he calls is the offense is the play that's run. That's called an audible. Well, tonight, the guest that I have, and I'm sure this is not on purpose. I'm thinking it's there's some kind of technical thing or a hurricane or something because he's a really good guy, and so he's not able to make it tonight. However, Mr. U came on today and he was going to watch our show and he was going to participate, and he's here. And so today I'm calling the audible, and the audible is that we're just going to talk about I don't even know what we're going to talk about right this second, but I know our days have been fulfilled. I was at a meeting today. I was at a mortgage. There's a company called UWM. It's owned by the guy who owns the Phoenix Suns, and they allow you to come out to Detroit, Michigan. I guess it's in Pontiac, Michigan, next to Detroit, where you can meet with your team. You can bring people on. You can bring real estate agents on. And so for a part of my mortgage business, the company that I work with, that I do a lot of stuff with, it is called Empire Financial. And Empire Financial is out of Orlando, Florida. And so there's like 120 of us that flew up here so we could have a meeting and been able to talk about AI and talk about some of the really cool stuff that's happening. And it was there was a lady there, and she was kind of talking about social media. And she works for UWM, and she's talking about all the things that we should do in order to make sure that our social media channels, like if you're scared of it. And one of the things that I brought up, and the thing is, even if you're scared, even if you're you don't know how to do everything, because we got started talking about like a landscape image compared to a portrait image, and when to use the portrait and when to use the landscape. And And there are times, we're on YouTube now for one of the things. We're also on Instagram. Well, Instagram uses portrait most of the time. YouTube uses is landscape. And my what I said to the entire team is I said, just get started. If it's wrong, we can fix it later. But if you don't make nothing, there's nothing to fix. If you're waiting to get started, you're waiting, preparing to prepare, then things in your life don't start to move because all you're doing is preparing to prepare. And I can think of times in my life or times where I see other people that are frozen or stuck because they're preparing to prepare. So, Mr. Yu, maybe you can talk about. I know you coach some pretty, high end folks, but not just because they're high end folks doesn't mean they have high end thinking all the time. And you could be making $1 million a year, you could be making $20,000 a year, and still be stuck in this procrastination of preparing to preparing that can't take you to the next level. How do you, what are things that you would tell folks that would allow them to kind of get out of that thought process?
Yeah, I think I probably wouldn't say it just like this, but I think one of the biggest things that you have to do is essentially blindly just step out. It's unknown. You don't know what's going on. Just step out. I mean, there's always been a challenge with people embracing cultural changes. Look at the days. I mean, you and I are old enough, no offense, we're old enough to know about the corded phone you used to have on the wall in our house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was a transition from that to the cell phone. People were scared of the cell phone. Like, wait a minute, a phone I answer outside of the house? People were afraid of that kind of stuff. I mean, even the cordless mics, people were intimidated by. They were corded for so many years, and all of a sudden they got cordless. People are like, what do I do with this thing? The same thing you did with the corded one. Same thing you did with your phone on the wall in your house. You talk into it. You dial numbers and you call people. So it's always about just kind of just embracing the culture and the change. That's one of the biggest things that I don't care who you are as a potential coaching client or in any kind of genre. If you refuse to embrace change, you're going to miss the boat. This AI situation is not something you can afford to ignore. So if you're using social media, if you're using websites, if you're using any kind of softwares to write blogs, newsletter, I think all of us do some semblance of that. Even writing books now, people are using AI to write books. I'm like, it's not, you don't want to lose your voice in all this, but at the same time, you got to embrace what's happening because this is going to happen with or without you. And you can be a few steps behind, or you can be a million miles away from what's actually going on in the world around you. You got to decide which one you want to do. So,
yeah. Well, and you think of all the changes, just even in our lifetimes. We're not exactly the same age, but we're close in age. We didn't have this thing called the internet, right? There wasn't like when we had the. Oh my gosh, we would go somewhere, and if our mom would give us, our mom would give us a couple dimes so we could call in the phone in case we got lost at these payphones. And it doesn't seem like that long ago that you would go to an event or a hotel room and there'd be these banks of payphones on the wall that we would have to use to communicate with each other. I can remember in college, like trying to call home. They had you guys, if you guys are young, born in the 2000s, you probably don't even remember having to pay for long distance. Well, you could have a long distance bill. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you could have a long distance bill that would get you. And so one of the equalizers for me, Mr. Yu, is they considered me a special ed child. So because I wasn't reading at 3 years old, I have this thing that they now call dyslexia, and it just traditional education in the 70s wasn't working for me. Plus, my dad was part of an affirmative action program, and so he decided that we were going to move out to the suburbs. So I wasn't even integrated in kind of a school. I was like, there was 3 black kids in the elementary school I went to. There was myself. There was a guy named Ernie Pitts. His dad was a Bronco, and then there was my sister. And so that was it in our school of 300 or 400. And then by the time I got to high school, there was 35 of us in a school that had 3,500 kids. And so there wasn't a lot of programs. It's like, you don't know how to read, you go into this special ed trailer. Now I think maybe I could have been, yeah, I don't know if I needed to be there, but I missed a whole lot of education. And so I can remember going to college and having these I wasn't going to college. I wasn't no part of it. I was going to go to Hollywood and be a stuntman. And my mom convinced me, if you
I
just
didn't
go
know
to
that
college.
about you.
Yeah, I know. She said, if you just go to college, I will buy you a Jeep when you graduate. And I'm like, okay, because I was a good athlete. And so I had some scholarship offers and I didn't have to pass ACT and SAT to be able to go. And so I went to college, and what I realized there is that technology at that time was starting to happen that was going to even the playing field. And what I mean by even the playing field is, so like when I first wanted to be a teacher, they told me that I had to pass a spelling test to be a PE teacher because you had to know all these things. You had to know everything. But the reality was, what do I need to know in order to teach somebody how to throw a ball or how to balance or do that kind of stuff? But that's what they said. But now technology, I got my master's in this thing called
Right.
educational technology. I can now talk to the computer, and there was a thing on there called spell check. So I didn't even know how to spell every word, right? As long as I was close, the technology evened out me. It put me even because I'm writing the same email as you writing, and I'm just using spell check and you're not. So the chances are we could have pretty much the same email. It just may take me longer. And
Mm.
now when we think about today, and we think about the equalizer that the chat GPT or the AI gives us, because now the smartest people in the world, those dudes that we idolize that could win Jeopardy, well, I know as much as the Jeopardy guy. It's just going to take me a half a second more it is than you to say it, right? Because I'm going to type it in while they're asking the question. You might know the answer. Well, so do I. Ha ha ha, right? So, now he might be able to manipulate some other things a little bit better. But I think about kids today that think that they can't or think that they're not able to achieve things when you have this now thing that takes the haves, which are the folks that have usually been exposed or had access to the best
Mhm.
education, or exposed or have access to the best mentors, or exposed or be asked to be able to sit in a cigar lounge with some very brilliant people who are running the world. Well, now I can type on there, pretend I'm standing in the cigar lounge with the most brilliant people in the world. What are we talking about? Right? And now I'm in those rooms because they've taken the intelligence, or they've taken the thought process or the conversations of some of the smart people and given it to somebody who never had access before. And so now, when we talk about, not just, they talk about equality or being equitable, or having the same, we've all seen those little guys that are standing watching the football field, and you talk about, well, this guy, doesn't have the equal way to be able to do stuff. So how do we take advantage of if we believe that we've been left behind, or we believe that we're not enough, or we believe that we can't? And now we have all this technology that allows us. How do we move our mindset to the point where, wait a minute, I can do just what that person does, even if I didn't not yet learn or memorize all the stuff that was in the books that they have?
It isn't a cookie cutter answer for this, man. And I
No,
hope
there's
this,
not. But that's why we're doing this thing.
I hope this answer goes over well. But honestly,
Okay.
man, I think it's really the size of your why. I think the
Mm,
people who were most desperate did
mhm.
some of the most incredible things. Uh, when I go on shows of different podcasts and I get a chance to tell parts of my story that I either forgot about or I just don't talk about in public spaces too much, I
Yeah.
get a chance to answer those questions. There's always been, when people are like, their responses are usually like, wow, I can't believe you did that. I don't know how you got through that. There's always a hint of desperation in all of the areas where I accomplished any kind of breakthrough or any kind of triumph. There was a tinge of desperation, and it wasn't like I was relaxed, sitting on my couch eating hot Cheetos and something miraculous happened. It was me saying, you know what, this has to work. This has to take place. There's been times where I've been in some of the worst financial situations that we ever want to be in. Situations where we were burnt out of our home 3 times. We were homeless 3 times as a family. There's so many things that have happened, and there's always been a tinge of desperation. And you know what? My family can't stay out here. We can't be in this life. We can't be in this financial state. something's got to break. And I'm not gonna say that my works made anything happen. I'm just saying that the drive and the size of that why is like, you know what? I gotta accomplish this. It's not even about me. This is for somebody else. So as long as you have a mindset that, you know what, you know that your dream is bigger than your situation and you are determined doggedly to achieve it, you can look for any resource and avenue that's going to work for you to help you get there.
Yeah. And you're so right. I mean, you think of it's the person who wants it the most who figures out that makes it happen. But I think we've been given people, or people have been able to take and make excuses as to why they couldn't make it. And we both know a ton of people that way. But some of it is, I don't know how many of the parents, like if I'm a kid and my mom's telling me I'm never going to make it, I'm going to be, and not a lot of parents always say that and just directly, oh, you ain't no good, son. But they do say things on the side like, oh, baby, you shouldn't try that. You ain't going to be able to make it there. And is there something in us that are so determined that they don't care about that? Or is it something that knocks a lot of people down because they just believe they can't, because they don't think they grew up on the right side of the tracks, and they don't think they grew up in the right area, or they didn't have enough money when they were growing up to go to the best schools? What is it that because there's outliers, but then there's this mainstream group of folks that, continue to make excuses?
Yeah, I know them. I've seen
Okay.
them out there. I'm even related to some of them.
Uh-huh.
And deep down, it's usually one of two things that's happening that I've seen in my little brief time here on Earth. One is that they're doing something almost out of compulsion. Their parents or single parents said, you know what, this is what you got to do. So they're trying to live to please that person. I lived a good bit of my life trying to please my mother in that regard, trying to do things that she thought was the best route for me. I did eventually break from that, but it took a minute. And the second part of it is, or the flip side is, they don't really want to do that thing that everybody's saying is the right thing to do, or the best thing for them. Some people like just sitting on the couch watching soap operas. Some people like not having to be working and be under the thumb of an employee or a manager, employer or manager. They don't want to do that. They don't know what they want to do. They just know they don't want to do that. Those things are reasons why you can definitely block yourself out of opportunity just because of what you don't want to accomplish. Does that make sense in reference to
Oh
your
yeah,
question?
no, absolutely it does. I'm thinking, when I think of some of our, excuse me, I had a cold a little bit this last week. Visit the
Sorry.
grandkids in Boston, came home with whatever it is they had. But
Uh-oh.
um, the when I see some of the kids, I was reading an article, and maybe you can help me understand this. And it was in Forbes magazine, and it was talking about parents that are going to job interviews with their kids. Not
Oh
to go
my
sit
God.
in the lobby and to take them there because they don't have transportation, but to literally go and try to negotiate for their kids as to why they need this job that they're going to. Now, me as an employer, me as an entrepreneur, I can't imagine hiring a kid whose mom came to the interview unless the mom's coming to work too, and I'm going to pay one salary for both of them. But how far have we, or how much have we hurt this individual, this child who is now in their 20s, and mom is taking them, or maybe even 17, 18, 20s, whatever it is,
Your audio
and
went
think,
out, brother.
yeah. Oh, did you
Your
can't hear
audio
me?
went out.
All right. Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. I don't know what the deal with the internet. Let's see. It says it's on. All right, let me hit refresh here. All
Any
right,
better?
can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me at all? Let me put a different mic on. Pull this out and put it back in. Do 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 do. If it's just poor internet or what? Because I got the internet. Yeah, let's see. Did you hear any of that question? Testing 1 2 1 2. Yeah, it says it's. Man, I think it's just the internet is bad. Can you hear me at all? Hello, hello. Live television. The way it is. Let me come off mute. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Oh no. Let me hit refresh.
All right, how's it sound, brother? You lock back in?
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, you just echoing. That's all. I hear you.
Okay, I'll turn the other mic off, and then we should be okay. What a mess.
The perils of live podcasting.
I know. Is it still echoing?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see here.
I remember what I was saying before we got.
Well, I was talking about the kids who have their parents go to interviews with them.
Yeah, I honestly, you might as well took your child there in a wheelchair. There's nothing they're going to be able to accomplish in that place. Their trajectory is pretty much ruined because, first off, from a self-esteem standpoint, because you basically carry them in there on your back, give them a piggyback ride to work, to the interview, and then you left a bad taste in the hiring manager's mouth. If you did by some chance get a job, which is doubtful, but they're not going to even want to think about you because now they know that you need enabling, and you don't have any self-motivation to come into that place and look this person in the eye as an adult, shake hands with them, eye contact, body language, and sell them on why they should hire you for this position. So you basically cut off both your legs, theoretically speaking, of course. So there's not a whole bunch you can do. And don't let it get around that your mom came to the interview and shouted the hiring manager down, basically trying to bully him into hiring her son for whatever the reason is for that. You done. There's not a whole lot you can accomplish. That's one of the craziest things that I thought 2024 was crazy and 2023 and back to 2020. That is the craziest thing I think I've ever heard. In this world is full of all kind of craziness. We can pick something. I mean, it's a craziness grab bag. We can stick our hand inside and pull out anything, and it's probably going to be crazy. But that right there, it's unbelievable. What happened to that person that's 40 years old? What happens to their life? What's supposed to be the girl that they like and they want to potentially get married? Do they have to go through a training program with mom first? Is there orientation for this? Before you marry my son, you need to abide by all these rules and walk through my 6-month training. I mean, is that what we're doing? How about the decision to have kids? Does mom need to be in the room to authorize any kind of interaction in baby making? Is that when did it stop? When does she become an adult and basically break free, like the Bible says, and cleave to your wife and let go of mama? When did that happen? So that's the saddest story I think I've ever heard in quite a while.
I know. So I put the article up. It said, "Who's sitting on that Gen Z job interview? It's mom and dad." Yeah, one of the Gen Zs have brought a parent to a job. It says, this can't really be. 1 in 4 Gen Zs have brought a parent to a job interview in the past year.
We're missing something in here. We have to be.
Roughly one quarter of their parents submit job applications on their behalf. I'm just reading the article, but
I was going to say maybe the person has some kind of challenge that we don't know, but now I'm saying no. The challenge is they function in this Gen Z identity crisis, if you will, and it's like they don't have to. They should come into this nonsense that you need your mom and dad to come to an interview with you. I mean, they're not going to be with you on break or a company picnic. None of that stuff is happening. So, wow.
Yeah, when do you get to be the person that's with the responsibilities? Because mom and dad can't come to work with you. And so I guess they're according here, they're negotiating contracts. Over about 70% of the respondents sought their parents' assistance during a job search. Nearly half said they did so because they felt their parents' input on resume writing or job interviewing techniques were superior to their own. One third said that it is because they don't know how to effectively communicate.
Tomfoolery. My mom probably help me out with the interview stuff. I mean, how long she was in the game before I got there. Yeah, I'm sure my skills are superior to mine. Yeah, but that's no excuse to not go there and learn.
And I get, but like if mom, I can imagine my mom taking me there and giving me a pep talk or something before I go in. I don't think that's the issue. But when I think of, oh my God, she's actually in the room with me. And then I kind of think of it like in a courtroom where
you buried the lead though, because that last part of the sentence, you didn't read the last part of that sentence. That's the part you should have finished that last part of that sentence, because that says the last part. That's everything.
It says simply being unmotivated to get out into the job market.
That's what's happening. I don't want to do this. Almost like mom and dad are forcing me to do it, and they're gonna go with me to make sure I get it done. Wow. What kind of track record did I have that mom and dad gotta make sure I actually go to the interview and get in the room? They gotta be in there to make sure I actually do it. What's my track record prior to that? What was I doing and not doing? There's some sad stuff right there. Unmotivated to be in the job market. They don't want you at the house sitting on the couch eating hot Cheetos. That's what we were talking about earlier. That's what they don't want. But they're going too far to get there. That's deep.
Well, and I'm thinking, I don't think my mom would have let me stay at the house until I was 30 or 40. Maybe she would have, but I know my dad wouldn't.
Not at all, sir. You'd have been out there on them streets.
There is no way.
That's incredible.
You're gonna have to go figure it out, son. Yeah, no. And so we think about, if we get back to, the fact of having to know stuff versus having to learn stuff. And are we just not doing a good job teaching our youth or our kids how to learn anymore? We had to know everything. It's like, the more we knew, the better we could go. And we would try to memorize stuff and look in the encyclopedia. But there was still this element of learning how to learn. But it seems like that's all we got now, because you can know stuff, type in a computer and it'll tell you this stuff. So we're not going after kids or folks that know stuff. We're going after folks that know how to learn. And if we just not taught our kids how to learn?
I think it's a battle between the excuse makers and the excuse removers.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch in our world and our culture that makes it easy for some people to get away with not doing their best. I mean, look at those awards they give out. What they call them again? Participation awards.
Participation.
I mean, if if you've been athletic at all, you know you hate that because you go out there running and gunning and doing your best, whatever the sport you're in, whether it's in track and field, tennis, golf, whatever it is. The idea of somebody who didn't work anywhere near as much as you getting a participation award is egregious, and you know it. So it's like we made it really easy for people to have that mentality. And you know what? Even though the culture offers that, doesn't mean we have to eat it. Doesn't mean we have to receive it. It's a weak-minded person. So you know what? I don't want to do all the things that other people are doing. So this is a great shortcut for me to take this and say, you know what? It's because of my this, or it was because of my that that like this for me. And so I need to have special treatment. I need to have a special exemption because I don't really want to do all, like the article said in that last sentence. I'm not really motivated to be sitting in the cubicle or work my way up the company. So I don't want to do that. I need me a different path to. There's one time I did recruiting. I think I did it in multiple places, but there's one time where the job was specifically recruiting, and I had guys, children in my assessment, 20, 30 years old almost. Probably got multiple kids. Just being honest about it, is what it is. It's not about race, it's just about a situation and circumstance. And they came in there, looked at their background, looked at their resume. I had to do all that stuff as part of my job. They had struggles with jobs that paid $10, $11 an hour. I can do math. I recognize it doesn't pay a lot, but your history with them, walking off job, not showing up, fighting managers, it would prohibit you from coming into my office and getting a $25 an hour job that's more work, more intensive, more time in the field, maybe even extra time overtime.
Yeah.
You can't have that in my assessment when you have that kind of mindset. And knowing me, being a mentor, a coach, and a father, and all these things, I gave some people a chance that I knew they would have to go above and beyond to be in the place to make this thing turn around. I had a guy there was a couple of situations, but one guy, I gave him a shot. He had a young child, an infant basically, and he needed the job. I said, man, your history in work sucks, bro, but I'm gonna give you a shot. I gave him a shot at a job that paid more than what he was getting before, maybe $4 or $5 more. It wasn't a big leap, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance on him. Nobody in the office believed in him. I said, you know what, I don't really believe in it either. You gotta show me. So I gave him a shot at it. Multiple times he didn't show up, no answer to phone calls. Told me his phone was broke, his battery was dead. I heard everything in the world. I'm out there in the cold waiting for him to show up for a job so we can orientate him. Never showed up. Had a guy was in jail, did something wrong legitimately, but the man called me every single day, every single week. And I had to put him off. I don't have anything. I wasn't signing them on. I really didn't have anything. So I'm like, I don't have anything. But he kept on calling every week. One day I said, you know what? I found something. You've been calling me every week. Do you still want to do something? He said yes. And the man went to work and he shined. Tale of two cities.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I can't imagine doing that for my kids, and I can't, but there are obviously your parents who are doing it because are they throwing their hands up, or are they just giving up? I mean, like you said, the tale of two cities of the person who's willing to put it together. But how do we teach that? How do we instill that? Is there something that just some people are born with and others aren't? I can't imagine that can't be. Well, I think of like our athletics life, and so we had kids that, tried their hardest and they always seemed to make the teams, and ones that didn't. But it seemed like the more coaches that I had, the more effort I put in, that process was easier to go for it at all cost. But if we're not instilling that early in age and we're not demanding it, we've all had that coach who's yelled at us and said, "What are you doing?" That shocked us into, you can't do that. But are we now just going, kids? Well, if you really don't feel like it, it's okay, baby. I don't know, because it just seems like there's more and more. So I coach track at a high school right now. And we had 180 kids come out
for track this last year, which is huge. I don't never remember track teams that are that big. So there's this desire to at least participate for the first part of the season. Obviously, that number dwindles, and track's one of those sports that you really don't cut. You just let them go to the JV meets and do that kind of stuff. But at the end of the season, we're having our banquet, and there's a stack of those participation certificates, and the kids are coming up accepting them like, they're gonna put it in their photo album for the rest of their life or something. And and I guess it's okay to be, but I just don't know how well we're teaching the grit. I guess that's what I want to call it, the grit.
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, some people live, like I said, it's one of those blurry lines between people that make it and people that don't.
Mhm.
And people can say, and I'm from the get.
All right.
Oh, I'm talking about concrete jungle. Walk outside, you might get shot. The ghetto.
Okay.
Period.
Mhm.
And I know people who have grew up in that same situation, maybe even in worse circumstances in their house. Maybe their mom don't come back home for days. I mean, that kind of situation. And some of those folks turn around and they become community leaders. They become CEOs of companies. They become philanthropists and all kind of stuff. And some become prisoners, literally in kind of a jail and or penitentiary or something. And they all come from the same place. So it ain't about geography, and it's not even about parentage, because sometimes, like you said, a good coach and a mentor can turn that around. You watch it in movies. The art imitates life. You see it in movies all the time. People had a rough childhood, but the football coach that believed that this person had talent rolled him hard in school, picked him up for practice, dropped him off at home for practice, even though mom wasn't even at home yet. Dropped him off after practice was done and cared about him and walked him through his high school years, and he went to college and eventually became a pro. You heard these stories are all around it. They happen all the time. And so it's like, I just feel like at some point that person, no matter what their mom or dad said or didn't say, that person got to really say, you know what, I want this. And I can do it. And they got to have a determination that it doesn't come out of a book. Nobody can't put it inside of you. I feel like it's a God thing, man. Pure. And so I feel like it's like a God seed, if you will. It's like a determination. You know what? I'm not dying here. I've had that feeling, and that I made a declaration out of my mouth many times. I said, I'm not going to die here. I see friends that have died here on the pavement. I'm not dying out here. I'm going to do something with my life. Whether I've accomplished that or not is a different story altogether. But I am not. I've decided that I'm not going to die in that place and not accomplish. No, I have something to. I got something to do. So I'm on the road to that. I'm still, working into that, the things that I want to accomplish. But I have to decide that.
Yeah.
Nobody, not a coach, a mentor, not mom and dad, as much as they love you, they love you for where you are, and you can stay there, and they'll still love you the same. But you got to tell yourself, you know what? There's more for my life than this, and you got to be determined and dogged. And say, you know what? I'm fighting for this. I got to have it.
So what would you suggest for the person who's saying those things, been trying, really, really wants to make it happen, just doesn't have I guess, the people in their lives or the folks that are helping them get there? How do they find that? I mean, and the reason I'm asking that, because I think eventually they're going to find that. They're going to open up enough doors that they keep going after it. But I would love for them to not have to wait 10, 15, 20, 30 years to find it. Are there things that can speed up, or places they can go that can speed that journey up for the folks that are hungry?
This is going to be a tough answer, but I have an answer. This
Okay.
is going to be I definitely don't recommend you go to lifecoach.com. I'm not telling you to do that. I don't know what you're going to get. Those kind of people that I help out, but I know that, some people have certain life circumstances where they probably couldn't pay my fee. And that's fine. It kind of is what it is. But there's two things. I had a situation, as a matter of fact, today, accomplished man, he does some high level technical stuff with a section of our government, and he said he'd been watching me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where I come from, when I hear that, I'm thinking all types of stuff. I'm like, what do you mean he's been watching me? He's stalking me?
Yeah.
But he said he's been watching me from a distance and just watching how I connect, how I interact, what I get into, what I don't get into when it comes to public stuff. And he called me today and said, I would love for you to mentor me. It's probably the 4th or 5th call I had like that since last Tuesday. And so I'm going to say that just to say, I know every situation is different, but I'm going to just say that there's always somebody around you that has the capabilities to do that, to be that person. But the second part I'm going to say is going to help you see it faster and different and better. One thing that you and I did, we may have come to situations that weren't ideal, but we have the determination to better ourselves. Even though people said, oh, this is your ceiling, this is the best you can do. You've heard it, I've heard it too. So you can't get any further than this. I was dogged about not only proving, I mean, I'm a Brooklyn kid. Yeah, I was trying to prove them wrong too.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I'll be honest about it. But a lot of people was, my mother who was deeply in education. She was a lifetime student. She believed in the power, and she fought for that in so many ways to even be in this country and do what she was doing. So for me, I felt like I needed to kind of walk that out as well and match that because all she sacrificed for me. So I made it a point that even way back then, even to now, I'm dogged about bettering myself. I'm an avid reader, listener, studier, meditator, not in the kooky way, but the other kind of meditation, and I'm just really into making sure that I'm in the best place I can be, because I can't pour into somebody else's life from an empty cup. I need to be where I need to be. And I need to understand what I don't understand and be good with learning and staying under the learning tree. I feel like that changed my perspective. Just to kind of put a cap on this, it changed my perspective. It changed the way I saw the world around me. The world didn't change. What I was putting inside me changed the way I saw it.
Yeah.
That's a nugget. I don't want nobody to miss that one. I think that's real, real good.
The way you saw it.
The world didn't change because I was reading and listening and doing something. It changed because it changed the way my view of it changed. How I saw it change. Because what I was putting into myself, it wasn't self-pity and a steady dose of arrogance and self-pride and self-pity and low self-esteem. I started putting good things into myself. I started putting belief systems and encouragement and faith and a warrior mentality and believe that I can move mountains. That kind of mentality inside myself, and changed the way I saw my circumstance. My whole perspective changed, and I can see the mentors. I can see the people who have something to give that I can glean from, people whose feet I can sit at and learn from, the experiences I can grow from personally. It just changed my whole perspective.
Yeah, I mean, and so finding somebody, and my college coach taught me, he said, no matter what you do in life, you shouldn't probably try to do it alone. And you need somebody in your life that can see the gaps or see the blind spots that you can't see. And that happens to usually be a mentor or a coach. And for me, I've sought out people like yourself or other coaches in different areas of my life. So let's say I want a spiritual mentor. Maybe it's a pastor that I'll go see. Maybe I need a business mentor. It's somebody who's done well in business that I'll go see. and then, maybe it's, hey, I just want to be good at my finances. So I go find like a financial advisor mentor, somebody who can look at that stuff. And I think a lot of us don't seek it out. I think we believe that this person, whoever it may be, is just going to show up and then say, knock on my door and go, Mr. Arnold, I want to be your mentor. Will you let me be your mentor? And I think, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that people don't literally go through that and think that the person's going to show up for them. And it's like, no.
They think they deserve it.
Yeah.
They think that they've gone through so much hard stuff that they earn something good to happen. I know people who been through hard stuff for decades. they don't deserve that stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
But they didn't earn anything better either because they went through stuff. I mean, it's not a badge of honor to go through adversity.
Mm-hmm.
They sit around waiting for somebody to give them something. Like, really? Yeah, that's not how that works. It's never been like that.
No. Yeah. And so I guess the lesson that I'm hearing or her hearing is if you want it that bad, then you need to seek out people who can help you get there. And I think the other side of it is folks think they can just do it all by themselves. Wow. To think that I could be that arrogant to think that anything that I want to do in life, I can go do all by myself and then go try to do it by myself without any help. It
Not gonna work, man.
doesn't work out. I mean, there's no way. I don't think God put us on this planet to do stuff by ourselves. I think he put us on this planet to do things in community in ways that'll please him and serve others. And for the folks that I see that are that way, and I'm not saying people can't be successful or tell you that they're self-made, but anybody who's super successful, I promise you there's somebody behind them. No matter how much they tell you it was just them. I did this all by myself, right? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You know. So where's the best place to go to seek out a mentor in your mind? Like, hey, I need a mentor. Where are some places I should go? Like,
where to find a mentor?
Yeah, I mean that if I'm that guy who's going, I need a mentor. I just don't know where to look. And I mean, there's mentors everywhere.
Oh my
Just because
God.
they're doing this, I don't know where to look. I can't find me a mentor.
They don't recommend mentor.com either.
Yeah, no. Isn't it like I said, they're not going to jump in your lap. You're not going to go to lifecoach.com. You're not going to mentor.com.
I don't recommend.
Well, and I guess what I'm asking, I'm not just saying, where do I find one, but who do I have to be in order to approach somebody and ask them or be where, what do I have to be willing to do myself in order to find a good mentor? Because I can't just go down the street and say, I want you to be my mentor, and then get mad when the person looks at you and go, I don't know you. Why would I be your mentor?
And this is going to sound like I'm repeating my answer, but honestly, I don't have a better approach. I really believe that like attracts like.
Okay.
And if you're doing what I was just talking about a little bit ago, where you're reading and studying, you're creating the kind of habits that help you to have a different perspective, a different view on your life, and a different confidence, you're going to attract people who think like that, who have lived like that. They're going to see it in you because you're going to stand out from the other 90% who are doing the same thing like drones and not having a mind of their own and waiting for somebody to give them a hand out instead of a hand up.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to find you more than you're going to find them. But you got to be in a position to be in the light so you can be found. I don't know a better way to do that.
I love that, because what you're saying is I got to work on me. Then because I'm working on me, I'm going to want to be in different rooms. I'm going to want to be in different places. I'm going to react with you differently because I'm working on me. So when I come up to you, I'm like, when I come up to you and I'm saying, man, I really need some help. I'm willing to do anything. Can I come cut your grass? Can I come sit with you can I ride with you somewhere? Can I just be around so I can hear from you? That then you're saying, wait a minute, this person has some potential. Somehow they're even in the same room I'm in, like you said, for me to be able to find them or for you to find them. Because if they don't show up where you're at, the chances of you ever meeting them are slim and none. But now they find out where you're at, or they find out how to call you, or they give you the call on the phone today or yesterday and say, I would love for you to mentor me. Well, what does that mean? Who are you? How did you find me? I'm glad that you called and asked, but I don't know enough about you to know if I could even help you. And then they start talking and they find out, and you find out, oh wow, they've been studying. They kind of do have my like mind. There are some things that they're telling me in their story that I've gone through before, because like minds attract. I've done that before. I've surpassed it. I got through it. The mentors in my life helped me get through it. Oh yeah, now I'm willing to mentor you. I'm willing to help you, and this is what it's going to take for me to do that. Are you willing to do what I'm asking you to do?
That's where I'm at. I
Yeah.
don't just take on anything.
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah, but you
I
can't
said,
help
well,
who doesn't want to be helped, right? You can't help the person who just says, I want your life. They're not asking to be mentored by you. They're asking, how can you give me your life because I want what you have? Well, that's a whole different, totally different conversation than I want you to help me and teach me and learn. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be able to get there. And I don't know what I don't know, so I would like to learn from you. Those are two different people showing up in front of your door,
no,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, whew, what a good conversation we had. And I'm sorry about the all this technology and stuff that we had, but you've just made me rethink through a whole bunch of, when I think about these kids and these, oh no, they got to be willing to do some things first before they get to shine. They can't be the boss. They can't. I mean, no, that's what they want. I want to be the manager at Taco Bell when I go for my first job at Taco Bell. Although I've never worked anywhere, but right?
The best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, the expectation, I guess, is that somehow there is a entitlement that says I'm entitled to. What do you mean I'm only going to make $15 or $14 an hour, whatever minimum wage is now? I can't live on that. I need $20 an hour. Well, son, what have you done that has earned yourself $20 an hour? I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean? I was born. I was born, Mister You. My mommy said to come talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, oh my
it was
gosh,
good,
man.
man. Thank you, brother.
When I
So
think
good, man.
about mentorship, oh my gosh, yeah. I think that is one of the things that all of us should be seeking. All of us should be in rooms. We should be listening more than we're talking. And we all should have different mentorship, but we all have to be willing to be the person who's humbled enough to ask for the help and then listen and do. Because the mentor's only going to stay with you as long as you're doing what they're asking you to do. That you say, okay, I need you to be on time, and time is 5 minutes early every day for the next 5 days when you show up here, and we're going to do, like Miyagi, I guess, in Karate Kid or something, and then you show up 15 minutes late every day. Your mentor's done. You don't have to go find another one because they're not going to be there. Oh my gosh. Oh, cool. Well, thank you guys for being on, Mr. Yu. Oh man, I love having conversations with you. You make me think. You make me relook at life. And I think there might be a little bit of echo. With technology didn't work. The enemy didn't want us having this conversation today, but we did because I bet there's one life that is going to hear this today and go, oh, that's what I need to do, and then make that switch and make that change, and their life's never going to be the same. All
I
right,
hope we
folks.
get to hear.
So, all right. Thank you for you guys being on tonight. We love you. Don't forget your God's greatest gift. He is there for you. We'll be back. I will find my speaker that was supposed to be here tonight. We have some other ones next week and the week after. I got a pretty big lineup of folks. So please come back. I know this might not have been what you expected tonight, but I think God showed up and Mr. You showed up, and we had a beautiful night tonight. So you guys have an incredible day. We'll talk to you on the next one.